Hello, welcome back to the Prosperity with Purpose podcast. I am Jessica Heffley. And what if peace and chaos are not external circumstances, but what if it's an inside job? What if you're the one who either creates peace or chaos at any given moment in any given circumstance? We're going to talk about that today. So, my kids just started back to school this week. Wednesday, they had a half a day, and I just got real curious this week about because usually, okay, it's always like, oh, I cannot wait for school to start. I'm so ready to get back into routine. I'm so ready to get in the rhythm of things. I'm so ready to get my kids out of the house. I'm so ready to, I just didn't feel that this year. So I got really curious about why not. And maybe, and so I was like, maybe some of this was on the heels. We just came off of an 18-day glorious, amazing, praise the Lord, best vacation ever that really was restful and peaceful. And so maybe that's some of it. Maybe we had a full summer. But I think a lot of it is the tools that I have learned about peace and creating peace inside of me. It wasn't like, oh, I need school to start and then I can have peace. When this happens, then I can have peace. If this lines up, or this person acts this way, or this person does this thing, or in your business, it's like, if this is this person, if I hit this way, then I will feel all those things. I am embodying what I practice, what I teach, is that peace is an inside job. So I think that's what was going on there. It wasn't like I knew that I know that I can create peace or routine or rhythms any day that I choose. I can go any random day in October, any random day in April, any random day in February. I don't have to wait until the first day of school, or I don't have to wait until January 1st, or I don't have to wait until the first day, whatever. A first day of what? I can create that with my thoughts, which then affect my feelings and actions at any moment. So it's just one of those times I was like, I just feel really proud of myself. I'm practicing what I preached. I'm creating a different result for myself. I'm creating a different result for my family. Our home is a more peaceful place than it has been in other years starting. But I also got really curious about this too, because I got home from vacation. I'm going to tell you this story about, which one should I tell you first? I got two stories I'll tell you. Let me do this one first. I think this is another testament of, growing in peace. Okay, so funny story. My kids started school on Wednesday, right? If you follow me on Instagram, you saw some of the stories. But so we got home from Iceland Thursday, okay, and then our kids started school on Wednesday. So we were home for not even a full week, and then the kids started school. So my husband, hilarious. I gotta not hate on him for a minute, but tell a little story about him. So he was like really stressed about our vacation. He's like, 18 days is a long time to be away from work, to be away from the shop. We have Graybeard Ammo, graybeardammo.com. It's an in-store gun ammo store, but you can also get all the things online. And so he's always like, I gotta be there to do that. And I'm like, no, you don't. Anyways, he was really stressful about it. And so, which is hilarious, because literally on our flight there, he gets a text from his friend Chad Robichaux, which is a friend of ours. He's been to our house. Check him out. He's amazing. He's the one that raised like millions of dollars to go and get all these people out of Afghanistan after our government abandoned all these people and all this equipment. Anyways, he's a really phenomenal guy. He's a friend of ours. And he's texting Rob and he's like, hey, my book launch is next Wednesday in DC. And so Rob, literally, we're flying to vacation, which he's already stressed out about because it's 18 days. He's like, oh, can I go next Tuesday to DC? And I just die laughing, because I know him. I know his personality. I know that he loves to do fun things. So it's never about like he's stressed that he has to be out. He's always like, we always travel. I'm like, yeah, but we travel to do amazingly free things provided by our company, like once in a lifetime opportunities. I'm not just like throwing stuff out at the wind just to not be home. Like, they're amazing opportunities. And anyways, it's just his way he handles his anxiety. But when something he wants to do, it's like zero problems for him to get out of town, zero problems for him to leave. So I was laughing about that. So, of course, Chad Robichaux book launch at the Bible Museum in DC, once in a while, like a really cool opportunity for him and his best friend to go hang out, do this. I'm like, yes, of course. Like I gave him a little hard time about it, of course. But inside, I was like, of course, that's really cool. And there was all the feelings. If you listened to last week's episode, I gave you a catch up because we hadn't talked in a while on, of course, that he missed meet the teacher day and the first day of kids school, which he's never missed before. So that was kind of a bummer. Like we knew that was going to be kind of a bummer, but like, oh, well, we'll take pictures on day 2. This is a really cool experience. I just kind of love that too, because of our life. Like it's not maybe typical, you would say. Like we get to go on some amazing, cool trips. All of them are, by the way, not mandatory. Like they're optional. And so we get to pick and choose. But I always, there's some things that come up, and Rob never, ever makes me feel bad for going out of town, which I really appreciate about him. He's an excellent dad. And he always wants me to go and live and experience things. And so I'm so grateful. So, of course, I would carry the load while he was gone. Anyways, so first day of school, right? And I'm living out this place of peace, and so we're gonna be prepared, kids. We're gonna have our clothes picked out, our shoes, our water bottle filled, our backpack all ready to go, our alarm clock set. Like we are gonna have dad's out of town. We are gonna have a smooth morning. So my smooth morning starts out with me not hearing my alarm. I don't know. I got a new phone before vacation, and I guess I really haven't had an alarm. I'm a smart person when it comes to technology. The alarm. Okay, so I wake up to my son with his head over me on the bed, being like, "Mom, I can't get into my closet," and I was like, "What? And I'm like grabbing my. What time is it? What's happening? When you get awoken instead of, waking up to the sunlight or having your alarm and being able to push snooze and slowly wake up. No, it already is the first day of school. I have slept in. My son is waking me up. And he's waking me up saying, I can't get into my bathroom. So this is just so crazy. The kids have a closet is in their bathroom. So you have to go through the bathroom to get to their closet, right? And so somehow yesterday he took a shower while the babysitter was here. So he had locked the door, but maybe he didn't close it all. I don't know what happened. He was like, it, his bathroom door is locked. Okay. And so in there is his school clothes that he'd picked out for the next day. It would not be a problem, if there was other clothes options, if he had drawers in his bedroom or other clothes to wear, or, he went to a public school, he could wear his pajamas, but he wasn't even, I think he didn't even have a shirt on. So he like literally had shorts. He did not have clothes. Okay. And so he is locked out of his bathroom, which means he's locked out of his closet, which means he has no clothes. So it's the first day of school. We already have woken up late, and my son has no clothes. Okay. So, but I really am like, I'm really proud of myself because my frantic level, even though it may have been frantic, it was less of a frantic level than it would have been in the past. So high five, Jessica. And I was just like, wait, what? I mean, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? And I just kind of feel like I'm from the school of hard knocks. I've done a lot of things. And so I know how, the basic things to do to pick a lock, right? Usually above the door is some sort of key that you can stick into and unlock it. Okay. So I'm art. I hope you guys find this stuff as entertaining as I do. Our door, we're tall people, right? And so our doors are taller than I don't know the measurements of doors, but I remember some friends that came over that were shorter people, and they're like, "This is a gigantor house. Like the ceilings and the doors are taller than typically." And so I can't just reach my hand up and look and see if there's a key on top of the things. I have to go and get my stepladder in the pantry is not tall enough. I had to go and get a bar stool, which is not stable, and to climb up on top of the bar stool, to climb on top of the top of the door handle to see if there was a key there. Okay, so there's not a key there. So I'm like, okay, let's try a hanger. Let's try to find like the skinny, tiny little screwdrivers, the Phillips head and the standard head. I'm trying all these things. I start watching YouTube videos on how to pick a lock. And they're teaching me things like do the credit card method. So I'm trying the credit card method. I'm doing these things. And all the while, talk about all these emotions. My son is typically really hard on himself. I guess I shouldn't have judged him because He ended up being just fine, but I'm so worried that he's going to be like so flustered and so guilty and so shameful and feel like he did something wrong and it's all his fault and he's going to carry it for the rest of his life and need therapy when he's an adult because of this one instance that happened. So I'm like in the midst of my like I don't know if frustration is the right word. I just like didn't know what to do. Like because I was trying all of these things that should have worked and it isn't working. And so but on top of that, I'm trying to be really careful to be like, why'd you lock the door? How did you do this? And I'm just trying to be like like it's no big deal. We'll figure it out. And by all the while, like I'm trying to do all these things, he had gone to the other room, the back room, and is watching TV. Like he's just living his best life. He's not worried about this at all. Okay, so back to Rob's out of town. I have already tried to pick all the locks. I have watched YouTube videos, and then I'm like, well, let me put a Facebook post out there. Like the lovely world of Facebook has helped me many a time on something that maybe I'm not thinking of. And I thought at the very beginning, I'm like, I need to text Rob, but then I thought, well, what use is that? He's in Washington, D.C. He's not going to be able to help. I don't want to stress him out. But then I did end up texting him. I'm like, well, I want to invite him into what's happening right now. I do that. I in the midst, I think I texted Rob and then I texted our builder. I didn't know. He's a friend of ours. And I was like, well, maybe he knows the trick to these doors. And bless his heart, I don't talk on the phone. By the way, don't try to call me. I text. He called me immediately. I was like, okay, I'll answer. Bless his heart. He was like, I'll be over there in 10 minutes. I was like, Rob's out of town. I don't know what to do. I'm so sorry. And he was like, I'll be over there in 10 minutes. So I'm like, oh, feeling all the gratitude that someone is over here to help me. While that, like, I'm still like, I've got to, maybe there is a key somewhere. So I've got the bar stool. I'm going over every single door. Like I get up on the bar, I climb up on the bar stool, look up on top of the doors to see if there's a key on top of the doors, right? And I do this for all the door frames downstairs. And then I'm like, well, I take the bar stool and I go upstairs. Oh. So we have an upstairs, like big bonus room, but the doors and the ceilings aren't as high up there, rightfully so, because it's just like a bonus room. And so I'm like getting dizzy thinking about this right now. I jump on top of the bar stool and I like full speed ahead, go up to look above the door, and I smack my head right into the door frame, like hard. Those doors are not as tall as the doors downstairs. And I instantly start bawling. And I am just not a physical pain crier. I believe I have a very high pain tolerance. I had both my babies at home, unmedicated. I just have a high pain tolerance. And when I just started crying, so I'm crying. I I'm just like, let's just let it all out. Let's just let it all out. I have done a really good job of keeping my cool, Jessica. I felt like, because when you get flustered, I noticed during this whole thing, I'm like, when people get really flustered, when they get really upset, they can't think straight. So I kept being like, okay, Jessica, take a deep breath. What's the next right thing to do? So I felt like I was, keeping it calm for everybody else, keeping somewhat level headed. But when I bonked my head, I just started bawling. I'm bawling. I come downstairs and I'm like, Judson, you try. And I give him some keys. And then Rainey's like, Mr. Don's here. And he's pulling up in the driveway. And Judson's like, oh, I got it unlocked. And it's like, what is just happening? I just banged my head. I'm bawling my eyes out. I already felt bad about asking Mr. Don to come over. He's pulling in the driveway. And Judson says he just picked the lock. Like, what? So it's like all of these emotions of, oh my word, my head really hurts. Like I'm concerned I might have a mild concussion going on here. And then Dawn is pulling in. As he's pulling in, I'm crying. And I'm like, we just opened it, like literally just as you were pulling in the driveway. I know you drove all the way across town for us, but it's just like this feeling of, so then, he's so sweet. He gave me a hug. I think he felt really uncomfortable that I was crying. So he left very quickly. And it was just like all of it. We get to school on time. It's no big deal for the kids. My nervous system is a little bit wrecked. So I go on a walk and process some things. But even that afternoon, it's just like, it's just not a big deal. It's just not a big deal. But in the moment, I was just like, what am I going to do? Okay, think logically, Jessica. I mean, the clothing stores, it's the first day of school. The clothing stores don't open until 10. I mean, I guess we could wait until 10 and get him clothes and have him be late to school. People on Facebook were like, just kick the door. And I'm like, I don't really want to kick the door in. I don't want, it's a new house. I don't want it was just like, oh, it was just a lot. Okay. And it ended up being no big deal, completely fine. Everything was fine. But it was, so I was processing it later. I think it's always so good to go back and journal and process and think. And I was like, why did I feel like what? Because especially I really was bothered with, like, I felt bad that Don came all the way out there and we ended up not needing him. And so I was like, okay, well, what actually was happening here? And I was thinking, well, I felt like I was wasting somebody's time, which is a thought. It's not a feeling. And I was like, well, how did that make me feel though, when I feel like I'm wasting somebody's time? And it made me feel like guilty, maybe the feelings of guilty, maybe the feelings of dumb. And I was like, okay, those are true. Those are honest. I was like, but what else is true? So yes, I'm feeling a little bit guilty that I asked. He came all the way out here. I'm feeling a little bit dumb that I tried all of these things and I couldn't get the door unlocked, and then my son did. But then I also was like, but what else is true? Me asking for help, I could feel and stay in feeling guilty and feeling dumb, or what else is possible? What else is true? And what other feelings could I choose to feel about this situation? Deliberately, right? And I felt feelings of gratitude and feelings of connection. Okay, gratitude that he was willing to come all the way out there for us to help us, and feelings of connection, because sometimes when we're like, I lived my life like this for so long, like, oh no, I'll do it myself. Like, I have to be the one to do it. I can't ask anybody else for help, and I can't bother anybody else. Like, it's just like, I'll figure it out. I can do it. And that led to a life of like isolation and loneliness and pride and more work than needed to do, or less work than needed to get done, because only I could do it and only I can do it right. So I wasn't having anybody else help me or other people do things. But when I go back to gratitude and when I go back to connection, like, what a gift that I asked for help. But people on Facebook were so kind. I mean, some of them were funny, but like, so many people were invested. They were offering help. They were giving me suggestions. I had tried, like, it was just like they genuinely cared. Like, they offered the connection. They felt like bad for me. Like, it was the first day of school. I was by myself. They felt the annoyance and the emotions of it all. And so I'm choosing, instead of feeling guilty and dumb about the situation, I am choosing on purpose. I'm I'm a person of purpose who lives on purpose. I'm choosing to take my thoughts captive and instead choose to feel feelings of gratitude and connection for the whole experience. So, anyways, I want to tell you that. We got lots of storytelling. We'll get down to more like business soon, but I think stories are pretty powerful. But all of this to say, if this would have happened to me a couple of years ago, I probably would have flipped out on my kids, screamed at my kids, been depressed for an entire week that I asked for help and I felt dumb, and I would have hid about it, and I wouldn't have been present about it, and I would have been angry about it, and blah, 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 blah. Now in this state, because I am the person who creates peace or chaos at any time. I also, that's by the way, you can also do everything to a T and it's still not going to work out your way. Okay. Like, I literally had the kids pick out their clothes, have their shoes out, have everything I possibly could have done to prepare for that morning. I had done, and this happened. So we can also, that is just like one more layer of God undoing my perfectionism. Like, people are people. We're going to make mistakes. Things in life are going to happen. That is the human experience, Jessica. And the sooner that you embrace that, the better life is, man. It's just like, I just felt like Jamaican, man. Like, the better the life is. Just, I'm such a dork. I know. Okay. So it just felt like, stop trying so hard. Because life is just going to happen. And I am the person that creates the feelings of peace or chaos no matter what. In that situation, that chaotic situation, I was the person that chose to be level-headed, chose to ask for help, chose to put it on social media, chose to allow the vulnerability of asking somebody to come over to help me in this situation. I still was choosing peace in the middle of a chaotic situation. So, how is this applicable for you in your business today? Oh, and I didn't even tell you the whole other story. Like, I came home, I wasn't planning on it, but I totally like binge cleaned my whole entire kitchen, my whole entire pantry, my whole entire closet, my whole entire drink station. I purged and I organized. I took everything out and put everything exactly how I wanted it to be, because that in and of itself doesn't create peace. Okay. But I know that as we're starting this new season, that is one thing that I can control, where I will know where things. I've already cooked two meals. Who even am I? I've been home from a week and I've cooked two home cooked meals because I know where things are. I know what ingredients I have on hand. I know the pots and pans that I need and the platters and the ingredient. Like, I know where they are now. Like, I created this place of peace for me, which I and then can live out. So it doesn't just affect me, it affects my family. They're getting the benefits of these things. But sometimes I want you to know, like, but I noticed when I was doing that, when I was like binge cleaning, it wasn't like this frantic, I have to do this and then I will feel peace. I've had those in the past. Like, if I've had company over that was difficult, or I've been through a difficult situation, I noticed that I used to go and like clean out all my bathroom drawers because I had to have something that was in order when my insides were feeling so out of order. But it was interesting this time. I was like, I wanted my external circumstance to match my internal circumstance, not the other way around. I wasn't trying to organize something because my internalness felt so chaotic and so disruptive and so stressful and so heightened. No, it was like, no, inside, I came home from vacation. I'm like, I feel really peaceful. I want my home to match this feeling of peacefulness that I feel inside. I want this to be an extension of what's going on inside of me. And it was just a really fun switch. So, a really applicable, easy thing that you guys can do this week is just start noticing in your life and in your business. Because, again, these are very like life applicable episodes, but life affects your business and vice versa. And so the more peace that you have in your home, the more peace and clarity that you are going to have in your business and vice versa. And so just I want you to notice just this week, just even today, okay, the peace externally or the chaos externally. And then what's happening inside of you? The peace or the chaos. Not from a place of judgment of like, oh my gosh, I'm so chaotic inside, but like, interesting, this is information. What is my highest, wisest, truest self? Like, what wisdom do I have to glean from what I am noticing right now? Okay. Start being a professional noticer of your thoughts and your feelings and what you are creating, because you're a conscious creator. You are contributing to a result that you're having in your life. Whether you notice it or not, like it or not, you are a contributing factor into what your life is creating. So do you like what you're creating? Do you want to change what you're creating? You have the power to do that. I love my job as a coach and helping people make powerful decisions to create a different future for themselves, which again starts as an inside job. Starts with creating peace with your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions. We get to that through our live coaching sessions. We get to that through our very specific 12 weeks that are in a certain order to build upon itself to help you create more peace, to make more money by stewarding your life and business God's way. We'll see you inside the mentorship. Blessings to you guys.